So you're looking to get your personal information off the internet and you want to know which service actually works best, DeleteMe, Incogni, or Aura. I have good news, I have the answer. I have even better news, I also have discount codes for all three, so you can save some money no matter which service you choose. But more importantly, I'm going to explain why one of these services is clearly the better option and why the others can be a complete waste of time and money, depending on your situation. Let's talk about DeleteMe, Incogni, and Aura. All three are major data broker removal services. Now, if you're new to the channel and haven't seen my individual review of each one, first of all, how dare you? Second, here's the short version. DeleteMe technically covers the largest number of data brokers, but it locks you into an annual plan. And that impressive sounding coverage only applies if you're paying for one of the higher tier subscriptions, since the sites covered and the sites you're removed from are two completely different numbers and varies depending on your situation. Incogni is cheaper, but their approach to data removal is based on volume, not risk. In practice, that means you'll likely see a higher number of removal requests submitted, but without much verifiable clarity on how valuable or meaningful those removals actually are. We've tested this with people with virtually zero digital footprint, and they still have like 190 takedown requests, meaning in all likelihood, these were preemptive. Hello? In case you ever stumble across John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, please remove them from your marketing page. Thanks. Well, technically that counted. Next, and then there's Aura. On paper, Aura covers fewer data brokers than the other two, but in real-world use, you may see comparable removal activity. Plus, Aura bundles those removals into a much broader suite of digital safety and identity protection tools. There's a reason this video doesn't just end right there. That's the headline version, but understanding why all of this matters is how you actually make the right decision. Because if you heard cheapest and immediately thought about signing up for Incogni, you're gonna want to hear the next part. When it comes to data broker removal, there isn't a single clean metric you can point to say, this one is the best or this one is the fastest. Even cost gets messy fast because some services hide the real breadth of their coverage behind tiered plans, so cheapest often also means least covered. And the reality of the data broker removal market is that there's a finite number of truly dangerous brokers. If you Google your name and city, the first page might look pretty scary. Maybe 15 or 20 results, some of which actually list your address. But if you keep clicking to page 7 or 8, you'll probably notice something important. There probably aren't hundreds and hundreds of sites with your information. And if you are, you're probably a public figure. And if public figure Tim Robinson is watching me right now, I would tell him, hi, I'm a huge fan of your work. So when companies say they cover 140, 420, 650 sites, or thousands of sites, what they're really doing is trying to win a numbers game. It sounds impressive, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're meaningfully safer. We've tested all the major services, looking at total removals, overall cost, and cost per removal, and the conclusion we came to is that none of those are actually the metric you should be optimizing for. This is because the bigger risk isn't your 199th Google result, it's consistency. For most people, the highest risk data brokers are the ones that show up first. Any decent service will target those early and make sure your most sensitive information isn't publicly visible. As long as you periodically check to make sure it stays gone, you're mostly covered. And you can submit manual takedown requests if a broker not in their system still shows up. Easy, right? Tim? You got it all wrong, buddy. The problem is that data brokers are some of the worst people on the internet, which is saying something, and they love a process I like to call profile re-entry. They're usually required by law to comply with takedown requests, but they aren't necessarily required to remember that request or avoid rebuilding your profile later on. And this is what brings us back to Aura. The reason Aura ends up as my #1 pick isn't just about data broker removals, it's about sustainability. We live in the subscription economy. If a service doesn't give you ongoing obvious value, people cancel it. Because, let's be honest, this is the subscription economy. Aura is a full stack identity protection suite. Along with data broker removal, you get dark web monitoring, credit and bank monitoring, and up to $1 million in identity theft insurance if someone actually uses your information fraudulently. But more importantly, Aura includes tools you actually use. For me, the one I notice is the VPN. Data broker removal isn't sexy, you don't feel it working, but getting a notification when you connect to a sketchy Wi-Fi to turn your VPN on, you notice that. It's a constant reminder that the subscription is doing something, and that alone makes you far more likely to keep it. The same goes for the password manager. Yes, Chrome has one, but having all your digital safety tools in one place matters. Aura will scan for leaked passwords, prompt you to fix them, store everything securely, and sync across all devices. So you don't have to remember 10 passwords or just vary up the one you have, making it super easy to guess. Side note, I was really proud of my old one, which was just a bunch of my favorite athletes' initials and jersey numbers, so it ended up looking something like Krolumjatubdumja, which to me looked like perfectly garbled nonsense until it leaked and I realized I used it for everything and therefore it didn't work until I had a bundled security package. Now I have 10 passwords, don't remember any of them, it still works fine. Oh, and my digital footprint went down while I gained an identity theft insurance policy worth way more than my net worth. See? It's just better. Some services will tell you they remove you from more sites, others will tell you they're cheaper, but cheaper almost always means less coverage, and bigger numbers don't matter once you understand how finite the data broker landscape actually is. Scrubbing your personal information from the internet sounds like a one-time task. It's not. And expecting protection to continue after you cancel a subscription just isn't realistic. So, instead of asking which service removes you from more sites, the real question is, which service are you actually going to stick with? And if you're already comfortable with a VPN, a password manager, credit monitoring from your bank, a fraud system that you trust, an antivirus you like, and you're just looking to tack on yet another subscription instead of consolidating, okay, I'm not even gonna pick one. I genuinely don't know which hypothetical person falls into that category. Discounts are available for all three if you really want to check them out, but my guess is most of you should and will end up choosing Aura.